we'll manage questions from there. All right, let's do this. I'm so excited. I am so excited. Thank you so much for coming today. I know that we think we know a lot, whether you've already had babies or, you have friends who have had babies. We're like, we got it. And it's not until we go through things where we're like, God, that was a lot harder than I expected it to be. And so I wanted to ensure that you are set up for success. And so that is where this class comes from. When I started coaching people, when I started opening up my postpartum coaching like professionally, I really thought that it would be more people who already had kids, who, this was their second or third baby, and they just didn't want to make the same mistakes before that they made with the first one, or they weren't as ready as they thought they could be. But what I actually ended up started getting more of is women who it's their first baby, but their partners work a lot, or they're in school, or family lives far away, and they were really afraid of being alone and feeling overwhelmed. And so part of my mission, and just in life, is to ensure that women don't ever feel that way, that you feel as prepared and as well supported and never alone and understood and validated as much as possible as you move through this very transformative time of moving through the threshold of motherhood. So that is kind of what my work is. And the reason why is because I see that when women come, when they are starting with me, they're feeling scared, they're feeling nervous, they're feeling overwhelmed. And I get that. I get that feeling of wanting to just know you're going to be okay, that physically you're going to want to be, like, am I going to be able to do this, right? Am I going to be able to handle this emotionally and mentally? Am I going to be okay? Are my relationships going to be okay? Is my work going to be okay? Like, I totally understand all of that fear because I was there. I was 100% there. That's me. That picture's me pregnant with my third baby. If we haven't met before, my name's Robin Angela, and I am a postpartum and a life coach for women. And I've had 3 kids. I've had very different experiences, pregnancies and postpartum experiences with them. And I struggled a lot with my first 2, before and after having them, and in lots of different ways. And so when I got pregnant with my daughter, my third baby, I threw myself into research, and I hired my own coach. And I really, even after I had her, I studied my healing process, like, vigilantly. And what I did was, what worked and what didn't work. And I compiled all of that. I compiled my own experience with coaching. I compiled my research, studying my healing process. I compiled all of that and created my own postpartum coaching program. And so I get you. I get everything that you're feeling as you're preparing for this baby, whether it's your first or your third. And I totally understand where you're at. I understand your fears. I feel for you. I feel you. I do. I see you. I am you, and I know that I can help you. So that's what we're here today. Like I said in the beginning when we were getting started, most of this content I usually would work with my clients on in the very beginning and kind of teaching this to them. But I wanted to have it all up front in one place that anyone could access. And so I didn't need to be I needed everyone to know this because I really believe that women starting their motherhood experience, whether, again, it's your first or your fifth, feeling really grounded and supported and with a plan and all of that totally sets you up for success in motherhood. And the world needs that. We need you. We need you to be like, have your shit together. Okay. So that's what we're here to do, to make sure that happens. All right. All right. So let's get started. Let's see here. Oops, just kidding. There we go. What to expect from today. I pretty much said it, right? How do you set yourself up for success? And we're going to move through these points here, how to prepare for birth, or just, I can't give you everything. I got 60 minutes and I'm going to talk real fast. So take notes, pay attention, and just try to catch as much as you can, because I packed this hour full of information. So we're going to move through as much of this as we can. I'm going to give you the most pertinent points that I think are important to helping you set yourself up for success. So we're going to move through each of these points. And ultimately, my goal for today is that you have clarity and focus, right? There's a million things. You go on Pinterest, like, how do I prepare for my baby, right? 800 million options will come up to you. And it's like, okay, cool. So what? So I want to help you have a little bit of clarity and focus. I want you to have information and to let that empower you. I'm a firm believer that what gives us our power is our access to information. So I want you to have all the information you need to make empowered decisions. And I want you to feel inspired and motivated to take action, motivated to make some decisions, to, like I said, to take, inspired action. Because what is it? Tony Robbins says something to the effect of, never leave the site of motivation without taking massive action. I don't know, that's totally paraphrasing, but you get the point. We don't want to just like have this information and go, oh, that was nice, and stick it on the shelf of our knowledge. Like, we want to actually implement it and keep this momentum and put it into action. So one of the things I'm going to have for you at the very end of this webinar is a Jumpstart Checklist. So you can know exactly what steps you want to take and like keep this momentum going. So you have a lot of clarity and focus and all the information you need. So let's get started. All right. I think I've already said it, but just in case, if you have any questions, at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a Q&A. Enter them in there. It alerts me when you have questions. So I can, when I have a couple of points that I'll stop at to answer, and I can answer those there. Okay. All right. Preparing for birth, right? So this is probably the most scary part, I think, for a lot of us, is reconciling with the unknown, is not knowing when labor is going to start. Unless you have a planned C-section, you just don't know a lot, right? Even then, we don't know when labor is going to start. We don't know what it's going to be like, how long we're going to be in it, if we're going to have access to meds, what if we're going to have access to a tub, if we want that, how helpful our partner is going to be. There's a lot of unknowns. And I just want to validate that can be a lot to carry, the fear of all of these unknowns. And so that you're not crazy for feeling a little bit like about all the unknowns. That's a lot. The truth is, no matter what the answers are to those questions, you're going to be okay. Like, you can do this. Your body was designed to do this, and you 100% can do this. So something my midwife kept saying to me when I was in labor with my daughter was, you're safe. You're safe. It's okay. You're doing great. You're safe. And I was like, okay, I get it. Like, it's safe. It's fine. It got a little annoying to hear, like, on repeat. But in retrospect, I realized how important hearing that is, right? And how important feeling safe in this experience is. And that's something that I really want for you. So I'm hoping that what we go through today will help you feel safer, because it's a really important thing that helps you relax. It helps you open, right? Feeling safe. And so I want you to feel safe. And like I said in the beginning, I think that being informed is part of being empowered. So knowing what birth means, we're not taught, unless you've been through some kind of medical training or have like a hippie mama in your life or something like that. We're not really taught what's happening in birth. And so I really think that taking a birthing class in person, online, something like that, where you learn what happens with birth is really important. I'm going to take you through a couple of things here just so you have some basics. But I think it's really helpful to be able to make empowered decisions. Having support during birth is also important. So I've seen it a lot, where we go into birth with like our partner, not having taken a birthing class or anything. And it's hard. I mean, it's hard in general. There's no easy button. But if your partner's standing there like a deer in headlights and doesn't know what to do, and the nurses come in and out, but they're not there the whole time, you're kind of just like on your own to figure this out, right? And they're like, I don't know, what do you want me to do? And you're like, I don't fucking know, figure out something, right? And so having information about how your partner can help you, knowing what's going on is really helpful. But I'm a firm believer that birth is a 3-person job. Okay, you're doing most of the work. We get it. But having a support person to support your partner, having someone who knows like massage or compression. I mean, because, okay, say if you're in labor for a long time, your partner's going to need to go pee or get something to eat or go inform the family, things like that, right? They might need some rest. They're not in the same boat you are. And so having a third person can really bring in the cohesiveness, can really make everyone feel supported, make everyone feel safe and grounded. It can be a really important tool to have. So one of the things we're going to do a little bit later is figuring out who all these people can be. But, talk to your doctors, see if there's a volunteer doula programs around you. There's lots of options for who this person could be, but just start thinking about it. Just start planting these seeds, all right? So again, something we're not often taught is what happens like in birth, like what is going on in your body. So I'm just going to give you a quick synopsis here, okay? So this is it right here. There you go. We're done. Bye. No, I'm just kidding. So this is basically what happens in birth. It's not just your cervix is opening and the baby comes out. What happens, we hear these things like, oh, you're such and such % effaced, and you're at such dilation, and we're not told what these things mean. So I wanted you to have the information. This is what that means, okay? So your cervix is like, think of it like a straw in between the uterus where your baby's head is, right? And the vaginal canal where it's gonna come out of. There's like a straw. There we go. Straw. It's not bent like this though. It might be, I don't know, we're not all the same, but in theory, it's gonna be straight. And it's closed at the top and at the bottom. And then as the baby gets lower and lower and lower, and you're about to have birth, that cervix gets shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. And that's the effacement, right? And then it starts to dilate. And that's what dilation is. So this is what happens at fully dilated, right? It's open all the way. So this is essentially what's happening. Now, contractions are not the opening of the cervix. I know, what? No. Contractions are the uterus, the top squeezing. Like imagine if I had a balloon and I squeeze the top of it, this part's gonna bulge, right? It's gonna put a lot of pressure down. That's what contractions are. The uterus contracting and pushing up so that all of the pressure comes down, and baby and your cervix are opening and your baby's coming down. That's what contractions are doing. So quick, I don't know. Did you all know this? I didn't know this. I wasn't taught this in school. My mama didn't teach me this. She probably still doesn't even know this. Being informed. There we go. No. If any of you have taken a class with me before, I am constantly passing around pictures of vulvas, so this is not new. If we're new to each other, hi, this is your vulva. They're all different shapes and sizes, but this is generally what's going on. Feel free to take a gander, but the important point here that I really want to make is about your perineum. So I've actually had clients when they're getting ready to go they're like a couple of weeks away, and I'm like, okay, what are you doing to how are you going to take care of your perineum? And they're like, my what? Okay. Again, the education system has failed us, but I'll get off that soapbox for right now. And I'm going to be here to tell you, this is what your perineum is. So we have the vaginal opening, we have the anus, and there's this skin in between, okay? That skin is often what risks being injured during labor. Okay, it's obviously very sensitive skin, so injury there kind of sucks. Peeing, pooping, pressure, it sucks having an injury there. It's not always totally avoidable, but it can be. Just because it's not 100% guaranteed that we can't avoid injury doesn't mean we shouldn't try, right? So here's some ways to try, because I personally, if you can avoid it, your healing time goes through the roof. You can heal so much faster, get back to life somewhat the new normal so much faster if you have minimal healing here, if you have minimal injury here. So this is a really important thing to pay attention to. One of the ways to do this is oils. So this is before labor, while you're still pregnant. Really lubricating that area, think about your own skin, right? You put lotion on your skin. If your skin starts to get kind of dry and I scratch it or bump it against something, it's going to bleed, right? It's going to get injured. But if my skin is really hydrated and I scratch it or bump it against something, it's going to be fine, right? It has elasticity. That's exactly what we want to have in our perineum. And are you lotioning your perineum regularly? I don't think you are. If you are, great. I don't think you are. So start now. Start really hydrating that skin so that it has some elasticity. It's a little bit stretchier and less likely to be injured. And then during labor, water compresses or just having access to water can be really helpful. If you have access to a tub just to sit in for a little bit, if you have access to a shower to, get that area nice and wet, saying a lot of things here, it's going to really help soften that skin so that it can stretch. I personally had access to tubs, and I had just a little bit of injury with my first, but none with my second. I had 9-pound babies. Okay. I swear, I am a firm believer that water saved my ass. No pun intended. Okay. If you don't have access to water, coconut oil during labor. So one of the, like, early labor, if somebody can apply it to you, great. I know you're probably gonna like, get the hell away from me, and I totally get it. But you can ask your doctor like ahead of time, hey, is there a possibility like when you're checking me that you can use some coconut oil or some additional oil to help kind of, while you're already there, can you help a sister out? That is a conversation to have ahead of time. So one of the themes you're going to see running through this entire webinar is the importance of having these conversations ahead of time. Because I can guarantee you when you're in the thick of labor, you're not going to be like, hey doc, I have some coconut oil. Like, it's never going to happen. You make all of this, right? No. So you have to have these conversations ahead of time. You have to talk about them. They have to know what you want. They have to know about your plan. Again, you're going to hear me say it a million times, but prepping, being prepared means having all of these conversations, making these decisions, having a plan in place ahead of time and not waiting until you're in the thick of it. Okay. All right. So again, I kind of mentioned this already, taking a birthing class, I can't recommend it enough. I almost said, if you do nothing else, but there's a lot of things I hope that you do. This is just one of them. It's a game changer because of your partner support. It's not just about you and learning breathing and sounds. It's your partner learning them too, so that they can be supportive and not just stand there going, I don't know what the hell to do, and watching you helplessly and it being like a thing. You don't need that. They can be so much more involved, and that can make it so much more easier on you. Another theme you're going to hear me say all the time is like, my job, as far as I'm concerned, is to make your life so much easier. Your life in birth, in prepping for birth, in labor, and postpartum. You want to make that as easy as possible. So one of the ways you do that and set yourself up for success is take a birthing class that your partner can be as supportive as possible, and you can be as informed and thus empowered as possible. So breathing techniques, right? Breathing low and slow, low sounds even. So funny little story real quick. My husband and I took a birthing class before our first. When I was in labor 2 years later with our second, we didn't take another class. We were like, I think we've locked away. We're good. We're driving to the hospital. I'm in labor. And I don't know what sounds I was making. I'm sure something along the lines of like, right, panic and pain, something like that. And my husband, he's driving and he says something like, babe, lower sounds, go lower sounds. And I was just like, oh yeah, thanks, expert. Like, I was so annoyed. But I listened to him and I was like, oh, and it helped. Like, do it right now. Go, like, make it like this kind of thing. And then, right? I can't hear you. I can't see you. If I'm doing it, you can do it, right? Try it. You'll feel a difference. Like, everything softens, everything relaxes. And that is something he learned from that birthing class that he was able to offer me support with years later, even. So, and there's just some examples of how important those classes can be and how those little techniques can be a game changer. Okay. Nourishment in labor. Most hospitals or birthing experiences aren't going to offer you food. That's a whole other conversation. But they will likely allow you to have things like Gatorade or ginger ale. And those things can be game changers. There's calories, there's sugar, and that will help you, especially if you're like having a long labor and then it comes time to push where you need most of your energy. That sometimes will trigger a C-section because you're like, I got nothing, right? And so if you have access to ginger ale, I brought my own for the second one. I was like, this helped me because with my first, I was totally depleted. I was in labor for hours and hours and hours. And it came time to push. And I was like, I have nothing. And thank God, this nurse came up and was like, you haven't eaten. Tracy brought some ginger ale with a straw and like gave it to me. I swear. It was like spinach to Popeye. It was like game changer. I'm up, I'm ready. Like, I got this, let's go. And so just that little bit of sugar, of some calories, electrolytes can totally make a difference in your birth experience. There's different positions to try. Laying on your back to labor and push is the most obscene, ridiculous thing ever. Not gonna get into all that again, but it's insane. There are many other positions that are far more helpful for you to get baby down, to relieve pain. So doing some research on those, like for example, just being on all fours, rocking back and forth. And this is where birthing class will help, but also when you're having those early like Braxton Hicks contractions, this is where you and your partner can almost have like a dress rehearsal, right? As you're kind of moving through, and they can practice moving your hips to see if this helps, or like pushing in on your hips or pushing on your back. And you guys can kind of practice and see what feels good, what doesn't, so that they're getting some ideas for how to help you during actual labor. Okay. Yeah, there's in-person classes, there's online classes. And then, making a plan, having an idea of kind of how you want this to go is helpful, but staying flexible is important. So knowing if you have any hard lines, that kind of stuff, talking about it with your medical team, but knowing that life happens and sometimes we have to be flexible, but having these open conversations with your partner, with your support team, with your medical team is really, really important, so that you feel that sense of safety. Everyone's informed on the same team, and you guys have a plan and you're all working on it together. And then, yeah, making those decisions about support. Who's going to be in that room with you? All right. So that's just preparing for birth. The other thing is your go bag. Coming back to Pinterest, like you could go onto Pinterest and go, what do I need for my hospital bag? And you'll get 800 million pins. And honestly, put whatever you want in there. But I do think that there are a few things that you may not think of that are going to set you up for success. Coconut oil. This is great for perineum oil, but also the best nipple ointment ever. It took me my third baby to discover this. I've tried all the creams, all the things to try to make, because you get sore nipples, you get chapped nipples, you might even get like actual like bloody nipples. Yeah, for those of you who hadn't had babies yet, it's wonderful. I swear, it's great. But the nipple thing is real, okay? And even if you've had babies before, you're like, no, we're pros at nursing. Every baby's different. Pack some oil. You might need it, and you might be really glad you have it. Snacks for you and your partner in between meals, and some hospitals don't even offer meals to partners. So having food available like to munch on after labor, but even for your partner during labor, like I said, they're having a slightly different experience than you, and they're going to need some nourishment to keep up with what's going on. So having some snacks for them can be helpful. Having a robe, a change of clothes. I put a robe because you need to be able to like open access for baby and doctors and all the things. But personally for me, I hated the hospital gown. I felt like I'm not sick. I don't want this. And some of the gowns have that pocket thing, so that I'm super medical tech savvy here, but so that they can put the sticky things. Sometimes they need that. Some hospital gowns have that cutout, that pocket thing there, and it will rub on those poor little chapped nipples and just be awful. So pack a robe or a top that you can get easy access in, so that you feel comfy, right? So that you can nurse easily, you feel safe, you feel like protected, all the things, right? We want that sense of grounding for you. A nursing pillow. So I don't think you need a lot of stuff for baby, right? One of my clients had her baby 4 weeks early. I think I mentioned it. And she was like, I don't have a crib set up. I don't have anything. And I'm like, it's okay. You don't need any of that right now. Like what you need, you're going to need a lot more things than what she's going to need right now. So it's going to be okay. Do you have diapers and wipes? You got some clothes? You're set. A nursing pillow, though, is something that I think can be really helpful, and bring it with you to the hospital. If you had a C-section, even if you haven't had any like injuries to the perineum or any of those things, as you're figuring out nursing, as you're trying different positions and everything, that pillow can be really supportive and make things just a lot easier. Having a journal. So this may not be something a lot of people think about, but you're going to spend a couple of days getting a lot of information from doctors and nurses and other professionals. And you're going to sit there and think you're remembering everything. But you're exhausted, and you have just gone through the threshold of birth, and you're not going to remember half of it. So having a journal that you can just take some notes in, or your partner can take some notes in, you guys can refer back to. This can also be helpful with tracking meds. Nurses will take care of that at first, but this is something that you can use when you get home too, to help track your medicines. Even if you're just on ibuprofen and Tylenol, they're often taken at different hours, how many hours in between. This can be something to help make your life easier, right? Tracking your meds, and that way your partner, whoever's supporting you at home, can refer back to that and know, oh, it's 2:00, let's get your meds going, and help mother you, because that's what it comes down to. The mother really needs to be mothered. While you're figuring out how to be a mom to this new little baby, you need people taking care of you. And that is like the mantra of my work. So have a journal, bring it with you to the hospital. And here's a quick little tip to make life easy. All of these things, coconut oil, the nursing pill, the journal, all of that, when you get home, goes right to your nightstand. So while you're sitting in bed and you're in those early days of just healing and sitting in bed and bonding with baby, all those things are right there on your nightstand, and you just kind of keep the flow going. All right. Let's see here. Whoop. All right, quick check-in. I know it's a lot of information, y'all. We're just getting started. Especially if you've never had a baby before, this is a lot of information. It's a little like, what? Oh my God, there's so many things. So I just wanted to take a breath, check in really quick, answer some questions. Let's see here. Okay. We're good? We keep going. Yeah, take a breath real quick. I know it's a lot. But hopefully like there's a lot of possibilities, right? There's a lot of information we could possibly know. And I just wanted to like give you some scope here. So, all right, here we go. Oops, here we go. I swear we're doing it. There we go. Postpartum nourishment. So before baby comes, let's start having these conversations. Getting yourself set up for success means figuring this stuff out ahead of time. Okay. And I'm going to get into all of the food options that are available to you and how they serve you. But something I really want to drive home is that I can tell you all of this and you can read books about it. That's what I did, right? I had this moment where I realized I knew all of the things. I knew all the food. I knew all the recipes. I knew all the ingredients. I had my pantry stocked. I knew everything. Turns out that doesn't mean anything when you're the one who's like in the bed with the baby. There's a difference between having a bunch of knowledge and hearing me say these things to you and actually being prepared. There's a difference. I've actually been the person sitting in the tub crying, wishing I had like wanting something or being really frustrated about me being the one who knew everything and my support team didn't know any of it. And they're the ones out there trying to do stuff and they don't know. And it was like, oh, there's a difference between knowing and being prepared. So my job here today is to help you learn what to do and to give you clear action steps so that you can actually implement this knowledge and be prepared. So when it comes to postpartum nourishment, I kind of break it into 3 categories. There's your health, which means your immunity, your nourishment, making sure that you have all of the nutrients that you need to be healthy. Your healing, so as just organs are moving back and skin is stretching and we're shrinking, right? As maybe there is some injury, maybe it's even booby wounds, all the things. You have some elements of healing to consider. And then we have nourishment for baby. And by that, I mean breast milk production and quality of breast milk. So those are the 3 areas of food. And actually I have them broken down a little bit more here for you. So one of the things that is important to your health is staying warm. So it can be really easy to get the chills after giving birth. And staying warm is a really important thing for your nervous system. So for some of us, it can be really tempting to like get up and go do things. I've been that person and like prove that like you're bouncing back and everything's great. But that actually can make your nervous system really unsettled and trigger postpartum anxiety. Been there. So I can't recommend enough that part of your health is resting and staying in bed. And I don't mean rest. I mean, you're not going to be able to sleep a whole lot, but like just chilling, like get in the bed, just chill. Okay. Oh wait, don't chill. No, you don't want the chills. We want to chill. We want to just relax and stay warm and feel safe and feel grounded. Right? We want foods that are going to help you be easy on your digestion. Organs are moving. They're finding their way back. We just gave birth, whether you had a C-section or a vaginal birth, like everything's healing. So we take it easy on the digestion. That's a really important piece. And boosting your immunity. You staying healthy, you being well, you're the epicenter of your family. And so it's a really important thing that you stay healthy and well. So we want to eat foods that boost your immunity. Also foods that support your healing, right? Your mental and your physical healing. Again, feeling safe, relaxing the nervous system, staying calm, and then also replenish nutrients that you might have lost during birth. And then nourishment for baby. Certain foods actually can support the production of breast milk. And I mean, the good news is baby receives immunity from you. So as soon as that baby is born, they have all of your immunity in them. So that's a really encouraging thing. I had an issue where one of my babies, I had to go to the ER after having him because I pushed it too hard afterwards, doing all the things. And I was very nervous after leaving the hospital. I called the pediatrician. I'm like, I just took my newborn into the hospital. He's like, he's got your immunity. You're okay. I'd be more worried in 6 months than I am right now. So it's okay. So that's a kind of a relieving thing to know. But the other thing is the baby actually gets immunity from what you eat. So if you're eating all of these herbs and foods that boost your immune system, you can give that to them via breast milk. Also, if you're if you have a cold or the flu or something like that, I've heard people say, I don't want to nurse while I'm sick. Nurse while you're sick. Your body is making antibodies for that sickness, and they will get them via breast milk. Isn't that so cool? The other really cool thing, if you don't know this, is that baby's saliva, when in contact with the nipple, actually communicates baby's needs to your breast and like into your body, so that your breast milk is like short order production for what baby needs in this moment. Like, it's just the coolest thing ever. So that's why breast milk is really encouraged in those early months, because they get a lot of immunity. They get like exactly what they need. So whether you're breastfeeding or just pumping and giving breast milk, it's a really nourishing for them. Good news is you don't have to like eat 700 different foods for this. A lot of different herbs and ingredients and foods have check all of those boxes of your health, your healing, and breast milk production. I'm going to kind of walk you through what some of them are here in a minute, but I can't say it enough. Setting yourself up for success means practicing with these things now. Trying out these ingredients, getting creative, make some meals, try some recipes, do this stuff now, because I'll guarantee you when you're a couple of weeks in, you're not going to want to like try a new recipe and try to figure things out. You're going to wish you'd already done it. I see this, I know this personally and professionally. So do all of this before. All right, here's some ingredients to check out. Just leave that there for you. These herbs you can use a lot of different ways. I'll come through that here in a minute. But these things are great for immunity support, warming, digestion, healing. Like if you stock up on any herbs, these are the ones. Bone broth. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I'm kind of very into bone broth. I think if there's like one food that you make yourself, or that you have prepared for you, bone broth is like the one-stop shop. It checks all the boxes. It's warming, easily digestible, packed with nutrients, packed with collagen, helping with elasticity of the skin and healing the skin, protein, which is great for your healing, also protection of breast milk, supporting the immune system. I mean, it's everything. It's everything. And the cool thing is you can get really creative with it. So if you follow me on Instagram, check out the highlights under FBR, which stands for Five Birds Ranch. And you can see several stories where I've made bone broth. You can YouTube it. If we end up working together, I can walk you through it. But basically what you're seeing here, like you're not eating this. This is just the broth. So you put in bones, you put in carrot, you can put in a lot of different things that have healing medicinal properties. And then after that cooks for several hours, you strain all that stuff out, and then you just have the broth, and you can use that as a base for lots of different soups. So some things like mushrooms you can put in your broth, like reishi and shiitake are really great for healing. Really great. Lion's mane, these are really good for the immune system. Mushrooms are like God's food. It's amazing. But reishi mushrooms, as great as they are for healing, are like sticks of cardboard. They're like, you don't want to eat them. but they're medicinal mushrooms. So that's what I'll put them in my broth and pull all the medicinal properties out of them in my broth, and then strain them out and not actually eat the mushroom. And then if I'm making like an Asian noodle soup or something, I'll actually slice up shiitakes and put those in my soup, right? So protein is really, really, really important. Healing and breast milk, really important. Quality matters, but I understand that it's not always an option. So if it is an option, pasture raised and grass-fed beef, poultry that's free of antibiotics or that's even pasture raised, eggs that can be pasture, that are from chickens that are pasture raised, and wild caught salmon are preferred. Again, I understand that's not always an option. So do with that what you will. If you're a vegetarian, eggs, great, whole milk yogurt, there we go, seeds, and then protein powder, right? So these are all ways that you can get that protein no matter what your diet or budget are. Oatmeal, oh my God, oatmeal is so good. It's really great for breast milk, like really great for breast milk, and also a great source of protein. It's warm, all the things. Brewer's yeast, okay. This is a key ingredient. If you got distracted for a minute, come back. Brewer's yeast is where it's at. It's like the key, it's like the big trick for breast milk supply. Okay, I'm telling you. You know, if you've ever heard people say like, oh, just drink beer, that'll help your breast milk. I don't really like beer personally, and I've had people bring me Guinness when I was with my firstborn. I'm like, I have to choke this down. No, you don't. Brewer's yeast. But here's the thing. You've probably never even heard of it, much less never used it. So get some now and start playing with it. Start figuring out how you can use it now. You can get it like at health food stores. I mean, I bought it on Amazon. So there's lots of easy ways to get it, but you can add it to like a spoonful on top of some oatmeal. You can put some with your smoothies. I have this recipe for lactation balls, like they're like little snack bite things that you put brewer's yeast into. I'm telling you, you are not going to want to figure this out postpartum. I have a client right now who she's struggling, and I'm like, have you tried the brewer's yeast? Oh no, I need to do that. And I'm just like, but I don't blame her. She's in the thick of it. This is not the time. This is not the time to experiment. Now for you, if you're pregnant or expecting, whatever, now is the time to experiment. So get some brewer's yeast, play with it, figure out how to make it work for you. And these lactation bites, you can make them now and freeze them. And then just throw them in the fridge when you get home from the hospital. Yo, we can set you up for success. This can be so much easier, right? Using oils like coconut and sesame seed, fresh and dried fruit. Certain dried fruits will obviously help with things like with laxatives, prunes and figs, or dates. And then avocado is great fats. Berry is great for immunity. Apples and pears, you can actually like warm those up and serve them with cinnamon. Oh my God, how old am I? Cinnamon. And that's like a nice little treat to have. It's really warming, all the things. Root vegetables, again, really healing, but make sure you cook them. It's easier to digest. Beverages, water, y'all, lots of it. Lots and lots of water, like a gallon a day, at least, okay? You'll notice at the hospital, they'll give you a bottle of water with a straw in it, and they're constantly filling it up for you. And it's so much easier to drink water like that. Having a bottle with a straw is so much easier to drink water. So if you want to bring the one from the hospital, because they give you a big one with a bendy straw, if you want to bring that one home from the hospital and put that on your nightstand, great. Otherwise, ahead of time, buy yourself a new water bottle with a straw in it and have that ready, washed and ready to have at home. If water is hard for you, get an emergency or a power pack or some lemon in it and make it easier for you to drink lots and lots of water. This is like the key for breast milk, is being really, really well hydrated. Quick story, I was in the hospital after my third. I had to go back, a whole other thing. I have a whole podcast episode about my own postpartum experiences if you're curious. Anyways, I was in the hospital and hooked up to an IV, and I was just like making milk like crazy. And then I got home and I started having like a hard time. I'm like, what the hell happened? My husband's like, dude, you were hooked up to an IV. You had the hydration flowing and you're not really drinking nearly as much water here. So hydration, big deal. Another way to get hydration is herbal tea. And this is kind of like, again, one of those things that checks a lot of the boxes. Things like chamomile and lavender are going to help boost your immune system, help you stay relaxed. They're warm. They're going to help with breast milk, help with digestion. Same thing for rose and peppermint. There's a lot of different wellness and immunity blends you can get. And there are some teas that are specifically designed to boost breast milk. So have all these on hand, start experimenting, see what you like, start playing with it now. So what do you do with these ingredients? I just said it. Experiment, play, create some menu ideas. Now, for my clients, for my postpartum coaching clients, this is something I do. This is part of my package, is that we take all of my knowledge about food and healing ingredients and all those things and pair it with your tastes and your preferences and your needs. And we create a menu plan with some recipes and how to grocery lists and all the things just to make your life easy. I've had people be like, how do I pitch this to my husband? We tell them, we're going to make life easy. We're going to take all the guessing work out of how to feed us for the first month. Okay. We're going to make life easy. So this is something that I offer, but whether you do it with me or you want to do it on your own, create some menu ideas, try different recipes, involve your team. You knowing what to do with it doesn't mean shit at the end of the day. You need your team to know. They need to know what recipes, what ingredients. I'm in the bedroom yelling, my husband, put some black sesame seeds on it. And he's like, what the shit? What? Black what? Sesame? How? Not helpful. Bring them in on the preparation. Knowledge is different than being prepared, right? Something else you can do is make meals ahead of time. Freeze them. Find recipes you like and freeze them. You may not need them right away, right? You may have people coming over or bringing food. You may get yourself set up with a meal train. You may not need them right away. But after a couple of months, one of my clients called it the love hangover happens, where all the visitors and all the excitement and all the gifts and the visitors and the food all starts to kind of taper off. And you kind of go through this love hangover of hey, wait. And it's those days when shit starts to really get real and you start to feel a little bit, I would say not alone, but you don't have the constant inflow of support. You're gonna be really glad that you have these nourishing meals that support your health, breast milk, all the things made and prepped and in the freezer. Making recipe cards so that other people can make them for you. Again, do all of this before baby, right? Here are some menu ideas. A quick little snapshot of some options that are available to consider. Oatmeal with berries and brewer juice for breakfast, avocado toast, eggs, lunch, soups and stews. Again, make that bone broth base and have that base, that broth, and use it however you want. Make a bunch of it. Do a weekend of I'm gonna go to the farmer's market. I'm gonna get some bones. I'm gonna make a ton of bone broth. I'm gonna go in. And then freeze the heck out of it. Put it in gallon baggies or tibs or whatever you want to use and freeze the heck out of it and just have that ready. Then you plop that in a pot and you've got this amazing, nourishing, healing thing for you. You can add whatever you want to. Rice bowls are great. Make a bunch of rice and then you can add whatever toppings you want in there, all kinds of different flavors and things. We're making life easy, right? That's the goal. We want to heal and be well and be solid and make it as easy as possible to get there. Okay. All right, before I move on to the next section, because y'all, this is just before baby comes, right? Now we're gonna talk about life once baby's here. Let's just take a breath though, let's just breathe. Let all of that sink in. All right. If you have any questions, now's the time. And I'd love to know what's jumping out at you. What's something that you are, throw it in the Q&A. What's something that you haven't heard before? You're so glad you're already glad you came for, you hadn't thought about before. Yeah, bring it on. Let me know. Okay, I know how to check this. I can totally check my Q&A. Here we go. How do you feel about prenatal yoga? Oh, yes, sister. Oh my God, I'm so glad you said that. I have chills. So there is a video. Go to YouTube. I can send you a link. I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna take notes because we don't remember. But there's a prenatal yoga video. I think it's fantastic. Just be very careful about it. If you're already doing yoga, it's so much easier to implement things when you're pregnant. If you're already a runner, running while pregnant, it's different. I mean, it's easier. But if you're already doing yoga, prenatal yoga can be really fantastic for helping the hips open. It's really fantastic for practicing breathing. I found it can be even like a spiritual experience of feeling really empowered and grounded in your body. And a lot of prenatal yoga will help strengthen those lower muscles, the thighs, that in like your lower half, that you'll really need those muscles in labor. So I think it's fantastic. And I will send you a video. There's one particular video that she does a really beautiful job of making it both like connecting to baby, a very like spiritual, beautiful experience, and working on like breathing and postures that are really good for strengthening the legs. And I am not somebody who enjoys working out. It's one of my things I have to work on, but that I'm working on the mindset of. But I really, I noticed it in my labors. I noticed feeling strong in my legs. I noticed it very much, the benefits of that. So I highly recommend it. Okay, gonna move on. If you have more questions, bring them on and I will answer them as in a little bit here. Okay, let's see. All right, this is like the meat and potatoes right here, setting yourself up for success. So we've moved through preparing for birth. Now let's move into like preparing life afterwards. I had somebody tell me recently, like, I didn't realize how much I was unprepared for life after birth. And it's just not something that we talk about, right? People talk about the pregnancy and, what's labor going to be like, everything. And that's kind of where we cut off conversation. We don't really talk about those early weeks and months afterwards. So I'm gonna talk about it. Okay, we can do this. There we go. Building a village. So they say, it takes a village to raise kids, and they're right. It does. We don't live in villages anymore, so we got to build our own. All right. And now this is something that this is going to look different for all of you. This is something else that I do with my packages, like, okay, we need all of these players who can fill these roles, who's in your life. Like, we really customize this for you. So these are just some options, and it's just going to depend on what it looks like, how this interprets into your life. Okay. But your partner is going to be one of those people. A motherly figure. That can be your mom, that can be an auntie, that can be an older sister, that can be someone who has some wisdom. A woman who has gone through this journey, who can pet your hair and help you just feel validated, help you feel normal, that you can send some pictures of poopy diapers to and go, is this okay? Because you're gonna have those moments, right? Someone who will come over and change the diaper so that you can take a nap. Like, having that motherly figure in your life can be really, really important. So again, this is why we think about this now, so that if this is a touchy subject for you, for whatever reason, you can identify these players when you're not in the thick of it, but right now. Having other family members, friends, coworkers, who else can be in your village that you can call on, that you can set up for support. And we'll talk about what they'll do here in a minute, but just start thinking. Hired help. These are like babysitters for if you have other kids, who can you call on to be on your team? If you can hire as housekeeper, again, that's not always an option, but just for like a month, just to come over to clean the toilets twice a month, just someone to do that work. Because I'll tell you right now, I've been there, where you're tired and you're exhausted and you're going through all of the things of postpartum, and you go to use the bathroom, the toilet's dirty, and you're like, I can't even do this right now. Like, you don't need to feel like shit because you can't do all the things postpartum. So even if that's someone that's a friend in a family that you're like, hey, can you do this? Set that up ahead of time. Think about who can do these things, because again, the whole object being, we want to make your life as easy as possible. We want to set you up for success and minimize you feeling awful for any other reasons. All right. A postpartum coach. Yeah, I put that on there because that's what I do. But there's a reason. I hired one for my third, and y'all, it changed my life. So if it's not me, that's fine. But just think about who else you can bring in to support you. And this person listens to your birth story, hears you, witnesses you. I always say, your man don't understand, and your mama want to fix it. And so your birth story is a really powerful thing. And I'll talk more about this later, but it's a really, really potent, powerful experience. And you want to be able to process that with a third party who can hold space for it, who can handle it, who's just going to let you really like I would say healing needs a witness, right? Who's going to witness your transformation and help guide you and through your refinement of becoming a mother. A lactation consultant. Sometimes this can be offered through your doctor, through the hospital. You can hire one, or there's like La Leche Leagues. Google La Leche League in your town and see if there's a group. Sometimes they'll have consultants that you can meet with. But having these support people in your life make your life so much easier. It helps you build the foundation of motherhood. It helps set you up for success. And this is what we want. But you got to think about them now. All right. So communicating with your village. Who's going to do what? Who's responsible for what? This is where we not only identify who's going to be involved, but what they're going to do. And then on what schedule. Excuse me. I actually had somebody recently tell me, well, my mom can help. And I'm like, okay, cool. When? Well, I don't know. I'll call her. Yeah? How's that going to go? When do we call people? When do we reach out for help? Yeah. We don't until we're really in need, right? We wait until shit's really hard. We've cried a lot of tears. We felt a lot of negative feelings before we finally call and say, can you come help me? Right? And I don't want you to get there. We can avoid that. We don't need to get there. So set it up now. Rather than going, oh, I think my mom can probably be available sometimes. How does that feel in your body? Versus, hey, mom, I need you to come on Tuesdays and Thursdays from like 1 to 3. Can you do that? Can you schedule that in? Whether that's to help with the other kids or maybe to just bring your grocery order or whatever that is. Right? That's already like that relief. That planning, that scheduling of who's going to come when and what are they going to do. It may feel like you're being bossy. So what? Think about your job. Think about a well-efficient team at work. If you're like, oh, everybody kind of knows what they're doing and they'll figure it out, how's that going to go? But if you're at work and like everybody knows their jobs and they do it efficiently, everyone's like, wow, well done. You're running a tight ship around here. Things are getting done. That's what we want for your life. Okay? That's how we set ourselves up for success. And so the key is to do all of that ahead of time, to have these communications, to have everything planned out, to have your schedules, all of this ahead of time. You can be a boss. You are the boss of your life. You are the epicenter of your family. They need you to do it. If you need help with that, I will help you. And then maintaining your connection to yourself. I am not going to cry. Oh my God. Woo. All right. So I do postpartum coaching, but I also do general life coaching for women. Wow. Okay. Because we tend to let ourselves be sacrificed for the sake of motherhood. We tend to completely set ourselves on a shelf and just be of service. And what happens is, again, when do we ask for help? And so I get calls from women who are at the end of the rope and they got nothing. And they don't even know who they are anymore. And they call me because it's what I do, but they call me because I've been there and they know it. I talk about it a lot on my podcast. And it's avoidable. You don't have to lose yourself in the midst of motherhood. You don't. But you avoid it by setting yourself up for success and making yourself a priority in your life. And we're going to butt up against feeling guilty about that or feeling selfish. That word has a bad name, has a bad rap. That is an amazing thing. Staying connected to yourself, knowing who you are, liking who you are, having that confidence, honoring that person, speaking up for that, knowing what you need, saying it, asking for help, setting up all of these things, taking care of yourself. I have several episodes on the podcast about this. I think it's number 3. It's all about self-care. That's a really important one to listen to. The practice of self-study, confidence, another episode, really important concepts to listen to so that you know who you are and you don't compromise that. And not just don't compromise it, you're going to change. But that's where the coaching comes in, is also witnessing that refinement, witnessing that change and participating in it. So it's not just something that happens to you. Same thing with your birth. Same thing with motherhood. You can participate in it and witness what's happening and be an active participant in it, or it can just be something that happens to you. And so you have this opportunity right now to build a foundation of how you're going to be in motherhood. That is why this work is so important to me, because you don't have to get to that point of depletion. You can create a foundation of motherhood right now where you matter in it, where you're a priority in it. And that's not being selfish, that is being of service. Because when you're depleted, when you're like at the end of your rope, who's benefiting from that? Who's suffering? No one's benefiting from you slowly dying. No one's benefiting from you being depleted and at the end of your rope and having nothing left to give. Everyone benefits when you take care of yourself, when you make yourself a priority, right? Your happiness equals your family's happiness. You setting yourself up for success means your family succeeds and thrives. So you're doing everyone a favor by taking care of yourself. So let me go back to this. There's a couple, like I said, mentioned those episodes. There's also some freebies on my website, how to get yourself set up for that. Because if you are lacking in any of this right now, now's the time. You're not going to get better at it postpartum. Now's the time to build this foundation, okay? So that you don't struggle. So I'm just going to really quickly explain to you what it is that I do. If it's something, if all of this is resonating with you and you're like, okay, I need to know more, I'm just going to give you a little bit of information about it and you can take it for what you want. And then when we're done with this, I'll move into the Jumpstart checklist. But what I basically offer people is coming out of your postpartum period, feeling grounded and confident and secure in building that foundation for motherhood. That's what I do. And we do that in a few different ways. We help you set up with a meal plan, with menus. We build your village. We figure out who's going to do what. We set you up for success moving in. And then we process motherhood together, right? We're processing your birth story. It's a really important thing. Again, listen to that postpartum episode on the website, on the podcast to hear about that. I never want you to feel alone. And so what we do is we break it into we break down the sessions so that you're in that first year, you never have these moments of feeling alone, of feeling misunderstood, of feeling overwhelmed. You always are supported. That's the essence of what I do. So how I offer that, the breakdown for that is we do 9 sessions. We do 3 before baby comes to get you all set up. That first week or that first month postpartum, we're meeting a few times. I usually like to see like a day or two after you get home from the hospital. And then we break it into 3 sessions that you get to use at your discretion throughout that first year. I've had so many clients, because I used to do it all together, 9 weeks, done. And I've had clients tell me like, I felt great. I felt so confident and grounded and like, yes. And then 3 months down the road, something happened or I started to lose myself and I wish I had more sessions. So this is how I've broken that out. Now you have those 3 sessions to use totally at your discretion. Whenever you need it, you book it and we're good. And you get all of that, everything I just said for $950. Like, is that the most, to me, it's a hell, that's like a duh. And we even offer a payment plan for that. So it's just like, to me, it's a duh. And then there's a bonus for registering today. Everything I mentioned in your go bag, your coconut oil, some herbs for healing, a journal, all of that is a little gift box that I put together for anybody who signs up today. So if that's something that's been on your mind or been kind of wondering about, here's all of that information. If it's a duh for you too, just go to that link right there. So quick check-in. Like I said, I'm going to move on to, I'm 1 minute over. We're going. I'm going to move on to, okay, there's a couple of questions. Let me get my phone so I can answer them here. I'm going to move on to the Jumpstart checklist right now. I just want to see if there's any other questions. Okay. Oh, Stacy, you're in. Yay. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay. So once you do register, you'll get an email that has information on how to set up your account and book your first session. Okay. So yeah, you'll be all set. And I'm so excited because you guys, you know the feeling of when you say, I'm going to make this commitment to myself. I'm going to set myself up for success. I'm building this foundation for motherhood. Me being a priority in my life is non-negotiable. Me setting up everyone else for success when you make that like, I'm doing this, again, whether it's working with me or like I'm doing this plan for myself, you already begin that refinement process. You already begin that process of becoming the next version of yourself. You're taking that massive action that's like, I am being a participant in my change, in my molding. It's not going to just happen to me. God, that's so freaking empowering. I'm so excited for you. All right. Let's see here. Do you have any other questions? When's a good time to get started? We can start as soon as you want. I mean, what we'll do is you'll book your first appointment and let's just meet. Let's see where you're at in your pregnancy, in your prep, and where we need to go from there. Okay. All right. All right. Let's move on. If you have any other questions, drop them in the questions thing and I'll answer them. I want to jump into this. All right. So the Jumpstart Checklist. Here we go. So you actually have an email from me in your inbox right now. It was sent while we were in this webinar with a PDF version of this. Print it out and get started. So the goal of this being, I don't want you to leave the scene of motivation without taking massive action. So now you have even focused things. It's not just, I'm going to get ready. I'm going to set myself up for success. It's like, here, which of these things are you going to do? And the objective, the whole plan being to get 50 points. All of these things are worth 5 points. So you want to basically choose 10. And now if you're already pregnant, if you're like, and you're approaching your third trimester, like if you're moving right along, make next week, today's Sunday, make tomorrow your start. It's your week. And you're going to do 10 of these things, whatever 10 you want. Yeah. Yeah. Very exciting, right? It's like, okay, I can do this. It feels manageable all of a sudden, right? And if you have questions about what any of these things are, I mean, I think I talked about pretty much all of them, but I'm here to support you. So you can always message me. Okay. Let's see here. All right. So again, my goal for today was that you have clarity and focus. You know what it is that you need to focus on, what you need to think about, that you have all of the information you need to make empowered decisions, and that you feel inspired and motivated to take action to set yourself up for success. So I'm going to answer a couple of more questions before I give you my final thoughts on today. But I hope that really resonated with you. I hope that served you well. Okay, wait, here we go. Oh, Courtney, yay, I'm so excited. Oh, okay, here's a good question. Is this just for me or can my husband get involved? Okay, so I love that question. You can do either. I've had clients say, this is just for me, this is my gift for me. I'm taking care of myself. Beautiful. I have had clients involve their partners in a couple of different ways, usually in prep sessions. So I've had clients use one of their pre-baby sessions to like do meal planning, and we talk about recipes and what foods. We do that part together because they're typically the ones, or in this case anyways, they were going to be the ones who did a lot of the cooking. And so they wanted to be well informed for that. The other way that I've had people involve their partners is like doing a little birth planning. What are some positions? What are some techniques? We kind of do one of those prep sessions. So those are a couple of ways people have involved their partners. Okay. What is the podcast called? I probably should have mentioned that. It's In the Thick of It. So it's on Apple Podcasts. It's on Spotify, or you can go to my website. There's a link for podcasts there, and you can get that there. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Any other questions? I think that's that. All right. Final thoughts. Oh, you guys, we did it. I'm not too over. 5 minutes. Oh my God, that's amazing. I'm at least 15 minutes late for everything. I just wanted to encourage you to take care of yourself, to make yourself a priority, and to keep filling up your cup. Please do this ahead of time. Set yourself up for success. And by that, I mean really considering what you need to be nourished, what you need to be well, what you need to feel safe, what you need to feel grounded. And you know, we hear this phrase all the time, like fill up your cup. That doesn't mean let it get empty first. Please hear that. That does not mean let it get empty first. It does not mean get depleted. It means continually filling up your cup so that it overflows and fills up other people's, right? Your happiness and your wellness is the key to your family success. You are the epicenter of your family. You are. As the mother, you are. And so it is like the biggest calling in my life, and I can't shout it enough from the rooftops. Please take care of yourself. Set yourself up for success so that you don't need help on the other side. But if you need help with that, you know where to find me. I'm so grateful for you being here today. Thank you. I hope this served you well. And like I said, if you have any questions, you can just reply to the email that you have in your inbox, okay? Sending you love and gratitude. Have a beautiful day. Congratulations. I'll talk to you soon. If you have any other questions, I'll hang out for a minute, but otherwise I'll see you soon. Thank you. Oh, thank you. That's sweet. Thank you.